all pupils in beds, hearts and buckets can start to return to school. But how feasible is this? How much organising is this really going to take? Well, we can talk to Chris Holmwood. Chris is the head teacher of Shenley Brook End School in Milton Keynes. Afternoon, Headmaster.
Hello, hi Rob, it's Chris here.
Hello, Headmaster. How are you feeling about the challenge, Chris, facing you and your staff ahead of schools being allowed to reopen in less than a fortnight?
Yeah, I was just going to correct you, because I think you said 8th of April.
Sorry, 8th of March, yes.
And it is indeed 8th of March. Yeah, we've got quite a logistical challenge on our hands. We're a school of 1,800 students, and all of those children that consent to have the test will be tested 3 times, 3 to 5 days apart. So, we're looking at not far off 6,000 tests as we reintegrate everybody to school. The good news is that as soon as they've tested negative, they can come back the next day and begin their education back in the school building, which we're really looking forward to. But clearly it's going to be a very, very busy couple of weeks.
Chris, you've just highlighted something I think most of us will have no idea about. So 1,800 students, it's a lot of children, a big school, 6,000 tests. How are you going to do that?
Well, we've got a very extensive...
Sorry, Chris, we've got you. Oh, I think we've lost Chris. We'll try and get him back in a moment. I do apologise. Just bear with us. We'll try and get Chris back on the line. So, by the way, we're going to hear from the Secretary of State for Education, Gavin Williamson, at 5. He'll be leading at the briefing from number 10. So we'll cross to number 10 at 5 from the grand dining hall or dining room and listen to the Education Secretary and his proposals and his plans to ensure children go back to school on the 8th of March. But what Chris was just saying was really fascinating. So he's got 1,800 students. That means 6,000 tests, and they've all got to give consent. Now, we'll speak to Chris again in a moment. Oh, Chris is back. Chris, good afternoon. Sorry, we lost you there.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry. Can I just ask you about the testing regime, how you're going to do it? Because 6,000 tests, and you need to seek the approval first. It is a big challenge.
Well, we began our work on this over the Christmas holidays in preparation for what we thought was going to be a January return. We had consent from a lot of the parents' preparation for that, and we're just chasing up the other ones that we need at this point. So that side of things isn't too bad. We've actually turned the school theatre into a testing facility. We've got a number of stations there that we can use. We're already used to testing the staff and the children that have been in our small school during the lockdown. So, people are trained and know what they're doing. And it's just a big commitment, firstly, over the first 3 days after the 8th of March, to make sure everyone can get their test and that they can return to their learning in school.
Chris, have any parents refused permission to test their children?
Well, let's remember that testing isn't mandatory or compulsory. And if a parent does refuse, or a child, refuses, they are still allowed back into school. So, it doesn't really matter whether or not the consent's been given or whether it's been declined. We're still committed to educating them on the premises.
No, of course, but hang on. Obviously what you want to do is not have anybody come into school with COVID, because then it will spread. We need to curb the spread of this disease. So that's presumably why we have the testing. But if someone doesn't want to test for whatever reason, and they have the disease, surely that defeats the whole object of testing all the other students.
Well, if in that eventuality they wouldn't be allowed into school, if they were displaying symptoms or they'd been in contact with somebody who had symptoms or who had COVID, then it would be as it was before Christmas. We'd be asking them to self-isolate at home and asking them to inform the NHS.
And will all pupils return to school at the same time?
No, it will be a phased return because we can't clearly test that number of children all in one go. So, for example, on Monday the 8th of March, our Year 11, 12 and 13 will be tested, and then they'll be ready to recommence school the following day. And then we've got 2 sets of year groups the 2 following days, and they come back to school the day after they've had their test as well.
The Education Secretary is due to deliver a briefing at 5. What would you like him to say, Chris?
Well, there's a good one. My guess is that he's going to be briefing about examinations. We've been waiting for the outcome of the consultation, And I hope that he has sensible proposals that schools can work well with, that will support students and families well as they look towards getting their results.
I mean, the government's announced more money for education for summer schools or for catch-up, and we'll see what the details are in this briefing in the next 45 minutes. But, I mean, this idea of schools being asked to consider delivering face-to-face summer classes as an effort to catch up, is that something you're able to do or willing to do?
Well, it's not something particularly new, in all frankness. Last summer we remained open for particular groups of children over a number of weeks to help reconnect them with the school in preparation for 3rd September. And at previous times we've had other things like literacy schools and other themes. We'll have to have a look at what the details are and also assess where we feel our young people are. Some of them would benefit from that kind of provision, but some of them would probably be better off, doing other things over the summer.
Chris, if we can just leave the COVID to one side for a moment, I should imagine most parents are they can't wait until their blessed little children come back to school. As the head teacher of Shenley Brook End School, are you eager to have all the students back at the same time?
Absolutely. That's where they should be. That's where we want them to be. As long as we can do this safely, then I believe it's the right thing. We are in a much better position than we were last time, in as much as we know that the vaccination's rolled out widely. We know that the testing is in place. So that's two things that weren't there when we returned last September. And I know that a lot of staff are looking forward to being back in the building, working face-to-face with young people.
Chris, good talking to you. Wish you well. Chris Holmwood, head teacher of the Shenley Brook End School in Milton Keynes.